Everybody, it's Felisa, and this is going to be an entry into Soulful Saturday. It's also going to be another upload for Vlogmas 2019. Before I get started, I do want to apologize that I am super low energy. I still don't feel well. I've really just been back and forth with the idea of going to urgent care or same day. But quite frankly, I didn't even really want to, I don't know, like I just couldn't bring myself to get into the car. I just really just want to climb into bed. But because I'm dedicated to this process, I did want to at least get this vlog recorded so that I can schedule it for upload just in case I need to be in the bed for the rest of the weekend. Excuse me. Um, at any rate, what I wanted to talk about, at least briefly, is as we bring 2019 to a close, I've been really very pensive, which is not atypical of me. But I've really been thinking about this year, the year in review, for a couple of reasons. Number one, of course, we're getting ready to sunset 2019, looking retrospectively at everything that's happened this year, the lessons that I feel like I'm supposed to learn, asking for insight and clarity into those things that I don't understand, and making preparations to bring another year in. But also, it just occurred to me not too long ago that with the ending of 2019, we're also ending a decade and starting a brand new one. And so I feel like that has significance as well. So I started to really think about the not just the year in review, but the decade in review, and really wanting to hone in on lessons that I feel like I should have grasped, things that have been sent as messages to me that were designed to either enhance my life or to teach me lessons. I wanted to be fully focused and engaged in that so that I don't take unnecessary baggage into a whole new year, definitely not a whole new decade, but also to give myself the ability and the platform and the space to grow the way that I'm supposed to be growing. That's very important to me. So I started to think about 2019 and, realize that I've been so focused on physical loss, people who literally have been snatched out of here without warning and, just so quickly. And it was just like this whirlwind, especially these last few months. It's just been crazy insane. And so many people that I know have been touched by these losses. When I started to look, really at the beginning of the year, how I brought the year in, I was still pretty upset and hurt about, ending my relationship in 2018 or having my relationship in 2018, trying to process all of that. Then I had, a long-term friendship just kind of fall apart. In retrospect, it was over something relatively petty, but, I'm just a firm believer that, all things happen for a reason. And sometimes your season is up with people. And it doesn't mean that you don't value them or that you don't care about them or that you don't love them. It's just that for that particular time, perhaps you just don't have the connectivity or the relationship that you once had. I also wonder though, because I've been so disappointed in friendships over the course of my life, I tend to wear those relationships rather loosely. And it doesn't mean that I don't care about people, and it doesn't mean that I don't, that my heart can't be broken and it can't be crushed. Obviously it can, but I have learned that, people are free agents. People exercise their free will every day of the week. And you can't hold on so tightly to someone that that you are so obsessed and so conflicted and so consumed with, what they're doing and why they did this and, whatever. And that's one of the lessons that I learned the first time that I was ghosted. It, like I said, abandonment rejection with me is a huge thing. And I would be lying if I said that, all of those triggers are dead and I'm perfectly healed. No, there are still sore spots, and people that I love can uncover them. Nobody else can do that. But I mean, like, if I love you and we're in a relationship, like, you have the ability to really, really, really hurt me and have the ability to really, really, send me into a tailspin. And there's not a whole lot that you can do to protect yourself from that. Like, that is literally the price you pay for loving someone, which is to be vulnerable and to be open and all those kinds of things. So, I was thinking about that and, really, really wanting to not close myself off to future relationships and not, be so jaded and so, hard-hearted that, I'm incapable of loving or incapable of inviting love. So that was the first thing that I was thinking about. And I do believe that I'm still open and receptive. It is something that I greatly desire, not just in romantic relationships or a relationship, because one person, but in all my relationships. Like, my tribe knows that I absolutely love them and that I will go to the floor for them. Same thing even with my staff. Anybody that's in my life that I genuinely care about, irrespective of their role or, the part that they play. Like, if I love you, I'm going to probably mama bear you without question and without fail. That's just who I am. But then I was also thinking about toxic relationships and, confusing dedication and loyalty with, being or holding on to a relationship that is absolutely toxic and means good. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this vlog, a little bit more in depth and get a little bit more in the weeds with it. And, what I really want to encourage people to do is to really explore the nature of your relationships and see, what exactly you're getting out of it, how it's benefiting you. And that in our society is a very selfish way of thinking. Like, it can't always benefit you. Yeah, it can. Like, if you're in a relationship, any type of relationship, intimate, friendship, whatever, and it has no value for you, it brings you nothing, it adds nothing to your life, ask yourself why you're in that relationship. Particularly if you are the person that is always giving or, always called upon to do certain things or always being stretched to the maximum. You have somebody that always calls you whenever they're in crisis or they're in trouble, and they use you as, a garbage can to just dump everything in. And then when it's time for you to get some of that back, they're nowhere to be found. They can't answer the phone. They can't be bothered to come out, to a meal with you. They don't check on you, nothing. They literally disappear until the next time they're in crisis, and then all of a sudden your phone is ringing off the hook or your text messages are going crazy. Beware of those energy vampires. Like, they will latch onto you and suck you completely dry. Those are not meaningful, comprehensive relationships. Relationships are two-way. Then, you have to be wary of, even people who are biologically related to you. I don't care who they are. Parents, siblings. I don't have any, but y'all get my drift. Aunts, uncles, kids, adult children. You have the absolute divine right to remove yourself from any relationship and any environment that is literally killing you emotionally and spiritually. You do not have to continue to wrestle with anybody over anything, least of all your sanity. You do not have to do that, and don't let anybody tell you that you have to do that. I'm not saying that you have to cut these people off, but if it comes to that, perhaps some distance and, not reaching out all the time and being overly accessible may be a course of action that you will have to take, at least temporarily, until you can level set and get yourself together. But you don't have to be at somebody's beck and call, and don't allow relationship to be used as a bargaining chip for you. Don't allow your emotions to be held hostage based upon relationship. Well, I'm your mom, or I'm your child, or I'm your whatever. No, if whoever's doing that to you is using you and manipulating you and controlling you and demonstrating some extremely I don't know, some extremely identifiable narcissistic tendencies. And y'all know that I said I was going to stop throwing around the term narcissist. But, there is narcissistic behavior, and there are, narcissistic characteristics. You don't have to necessarily be a narcissist to demonstrate those things, but just callous disregard of someone else's feelings, just just wanton disrespect, or, using shame and manipulation in order to have your way, a sense of entitlement, a sense of arrogance when you don't get what you want, that, is basically the adult version of a temper tantrum and holding your breath, or using something as a pawn, my love, my presence, I'm not going to do this for you if you don't do that kind of thing. You don't have to be held emotionally hostage, I'm telling you. And if that's happening to you, I would strongly suggest that you start to document and journal all of those things, and then for 2020, dedicate and decide for yourself that you are no longer going to tolerate that behavior. Draw some lines in the sand, draw some boundaries, tell these people, listen, this is what I'm willing to do. And if you cross this boundary, if you cross these lines, then I'm not going to be able to have any conversation with you. This is no different than when you have addicts in your family. And I don't know if anybody has ever seen like Intervention, or even Dr. Phil, even though I have my issues with him, I do watch him occasionally. But if you have addicts in your family, there is a certain position that you have to take with them, and you have to give them a kind of love, a tough love, actually. It doesn't mean that you stop loving the individual. It means that you stop enabling that behavior. So no, I'm not giving you $20 just because you said that you need it, because I don't know what you're going to do with it. And no, you can't come and live with me if you don't have a job, and if you're not, or you're not gainfully employed, or you're not in school. You can't just live in my house and play video games and have all kinds of traffic. No, I'm not going to allow you to do this. And when you have an addict, oftentimes what they will do is, well, I'm just going to be homeless and I'm just going to live on the street then, and that's really a manipulative kind of ploy in order to get you to buy into their behavior, and to allow them to have a TJ Maxx experience at your expense. Basically, a TJ Maxx experience. When I say it, I should get t-shirts. When I say a TJ Maxx experience, I literally mean get the max for the minimum. So they get the maximum reward, the maximum benefit, the maximum effort from you, because they have puppet mastered you into this type of response because of fear, and they do the absolute minimum. If that, they put forth no concerted effort. They have, no thought process behind what it is that they're doing, and they have no intention of keeping their word. So, when I was working in substance abuse, that's one of the first things that we learned was with one of our therapist, Ginger Rab Blair, wherever she is. She used to crack me up. We worked in inpatient psych, outpatient chemical dependency together, and she used to call those dope fiend moves. She used to always say, that's a dope fiend move. Really what she was saying is those manipulative kinds of things, where, people are really getting insight. And unless you think that addicts are not smart, they're very smart. They're very, very smart and very skilled at reading body language and reading exactly where you are and how to play you emotionally. And this is how, toxic family members or toxic people in your life will actually play you. They don't have to be an addict. They just have to have the ability to know you. They just have to have the ability to really be able to play you and to get inside your head and really play your emotions against you. And so in order for you to break that cycle, you have to take a stand. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be challenging. It may even hurt you a little bit. But in the long run, if it allows you to sleep at night, if it allows you to get out of this constant cycle of dysfunction and stop you from continuously touching the fire and expecting not to get burned, it's all worth it. You have to sometimes push reset on these relationships, and it does not mean that you have to cut them out your life entirely and can't have a relationship with them. It just means that now you moved the game to your turf, and now you have home court advantage. Those are my thoughts. But, I really just encourage you guys to, as we start to wind down this year, start to think about those relationships. Maybe you don't have those challenges, and maybe that's not a consideration. And, God bless you if that's not, something that you have to really give a whole lot of weight to or thought to. But for the rest of us who have relationships that have been challenging and we need to put some stronger parameters around them, I hope that you find the strength and the courage to actually do that, because your mental health is important. Your sanity is important. There's only one you, and you deserve to live the life that you've been blessed with fully functioning, whole, and without a whole bunch of drama, child. Anyway, I'm going to go sip on this tea. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, and I will catch y'all later on.